TJ Dillashaw was highly critical of Jack Della Maddalena's game plan at UFC 322, and his breakdown reveals exactly where things went wrong. Della Maddalena was controlled for over 19 minutes in his title loss to Islam Makhachev this past Saturday at Madison Square Garden in New York. That's an absolutely brutal statistic for a championship fight. Outside of the first minute, Della Maddalena mounted little to no offense throughout the 5 rounds. That surprised the former UFC bantamweight champion, who expected a much more competitive showing. Islam looks so strong. He made this fight look so easy, Dillashaw said on the Jackson podcast. I did not expect it to be this easy. Dillashaw broke down the first minute of the fight and explained how Della Maddalena needed to implement that same approach throughout all 5 rounds instead of abandoning what was working. When he's not worried about the takedowns and comes out and strikes, you're like, oh, damn, it's going to be a problem for Islam, Dillashaw explained. If he keeps doing this, watch how he's throwing his hands here. He comes out, he's aggressive. He's still shelled up a little bit, but he lets it go. Boom, boom, boom. Put him on his back foot. That opening minute showed Della Maddalena's potential path to victory. Aggressive striking, forcing Makhachev backwards, making him uncomfortable. When fighters move backwards constantly, shooting takedowns becomes much more difficult. It's hard to shoot when you're going backwards all the time. Yes, you can time it and you can shoot in, but you also can get timed and get an uppercut, or in me, down the middle as well. You've got to keep him going backwards. This is fundamental striking and wrestling strategy. The fighter moving forward controls distance and timing. The fighter moving backwards is defensive, reactive, and vulnerable to counters if they attempt offensive wrestling. Dillashaw identified the exact moment when Della Maddalena's strategy fell apart. As soon as JDM started respecting the takedown too much and not coming forward is when Islam was able to hit the double leg. That's the mental trap Makhachev sets for opponents. His takedown threat is so dangerous that fighters become paralyzed, too worried about defending wrestling to maintain their striking offense. Once that fear takes over, Makhachev completely dominates. Look, he sets up his double leg from this distance now. JDM is giving him this distance, whereas before he was coming forward and throwing big hooks and keeping him on his back foot and keeping his chin high and backing up. That's where he could have beat him. Distance control determines everything in mixed martial arts. When Della Maddalena crowded Makhachev and threw heavy shots, he looked competitive. When he gave Makhachev space and time to work, the takedowns became inevitable. But as soon as he gives him his distance and lets him be comfortable, Islam dives in on those double legs and they're fast. Islam's got good striking, but his biggest weapon in his striking is his threats of takedowns. That last point is crucial to understanding Makhachev's dominance. His striking isn't necessarily elite on its own, but the constant threat of takedowns makes every punch and kick more dangerous. Opponents can't fully commit to defense or offense because they're always worried about the shot. Della Maddalena had the right approach for exactly 60 seconds. Then the fear of Makhachev's wrestling took over and the fight became a one-sided grappling clinic. For 19 minutes, he was controlled, smothered, and unable to implement any meaningful offense. Dillashaw's breakdown highlights how mental strength matters as much as physical skills at the championship level. Della Maddalena had the tools to compete, but he abandoned his game plan the moment things got difficult. Keeping Makhachev moving backwards, throwing heavy combinations, accepting the risk of takedowns to land meaningful strikes, that was the path to victory. Instead, Della Maddalena fought scared, gave Makhachev comfortable distance, and paid the price for 5 rounds. This loss raises serious questions about Della Maddalena's championship potential. If the threat of wrestling completely neutralizes his striking, elite grapplers will always dominate him. He needs to develop the confidence to fight his fight regardless of takedown threats. Makhachev continues proving why he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. His ability to impose his game plan, neutralize opponents' strengths, and dominate for 25 minutes shows championship-level skill and conditioning. For Della Maddalena, this represents a painful learning experience. He had his moment in the first minute, showed what could work, then abandoned everything and got dominated. Whether he can mentally recover and implement better strategies in future title opportunities remains to be seen. Dillashaw's analysis provides a perfect blueprint for what went wrong and what could have worked. The question is whether Della Maddalena and his team can learn from this brutal lesson and come back stronger.